1810, in a small workshop in a town in eastern France, Jean-Pierre Peugeot II is pressing cold steel into springs, into clock parts, into saws. The family has worked iron for generations. Nobody outside the region knows their name. Today, that name is on 50 million cars. The distance between those two facts is the story of the oldest automotive brand on Earth. A company that did not begin as a car company, did not begin as a bicycle company, and did not even begin as a vehicle company. It began making pepper mills. The Peugeot lion stamp first appeared in 1858. It was burned into handsaws and corset stays and umbrella frames. The guarantee was simple. Whatever it touched would be sharp, flexible, and straight. A tool promise, not a vehicle promise, not even close. The company had 200 employees and a very good reputation for ironware. That was enough. For 30 years, that was everything. Then came the bicycle. In 1882, Peugeot produced its first bicycle. Steel tube frames, wire spoke wheels. The same cold precision that went into their saws now went into something a person could ride. Within 6 years, Peugeot was one of the largest bicycle manufacturers in France. The lion stamp transferred without friction. Sharp, flexible, straight. It turned out those qualities worked just as well on two wheels as they did on a workbench. But one man inside the company was not thinking about bicycles. Armand Peugeot had seen something at the 1889 Paris Universal Exposition that he could not stop thinking about. A German engineer named Gottlieb Daimler had built an engine that ran on petrol. It was loud, unreliable, and roughly the size of a large dog. Armand understood immediately what it meant. He went home and began building a carriage around one. The first Peugeot automobile ran in 1890. It used a Daimler engine. It had 3 wheels. It reached 18 kilometers per hour downhill. By any reasonable measure, it was not impressive. By any historical measure, it was the beginning of everything. The family disagreed. The ironware company had no interest in automobiles. They made pepper mills. They made excellent pepper mills. They saw no reason to change. Armand saw every reason to change. In 1896, he did something almost unthinkable for the era. He left. He founded his own company. He took the lion with him. The family sued. They lost. The lion stayed with Armand. What followed was not a gradual rise, it was a series of bets, each one larger than the last, each one answered correctly. In 1912, Peugeot released the Bébé, designed by Ettore Bugatti, powered by an 856 bike engine, priced to reach working families. It was Europe's first genuinely mass-market small car. It sold 3,000 units in 3 years. The market had been waiting for it without knowing it was waiting. 1 year later, a Peugeot L76 won the Indianapolis 500. The engine in that car was a 7.6-litre twin overhead camshaft unit. It produced around 148 horsepower. It was a design so far ahead of its time that American engineers reportedly disassembled one after the race just to understand how it worked. The twin cam configuration would not become standard in racing until the 1920s. Peugeot had it in 1912. Their chief engineer was a 26-year-old Swiss designer named Ernest Henry. He drew the engine by hand. The war came. The factories switched to shells and aero engines. When the war ended, the factories switched back. The transition took weeks. The 20th century moved through Peugeot like weather. The 201 in 1929, the 402 in 1935, full pontoon body, the most aerodynamically advanced production car in Europe. The German occupation in 1940, during which the Sochaux plant was bombed by the Allies to prevent it being used for military production. The workers rebuilt it. In 1948, the 203 rolled off the line. In 1955, the 403. In 1965, the 204, front-wheel drive, overhead cam, a car a decade ahead of most European competitors. By the time the 1970s arrived, Peugeot was no longer a French curiosity. It was a global industrial force. In 1976, Peugeot acquired Citroën. In 1978, it absorbed Chrysler's entire European operation, Simca, Talbot, Roots, overnight becoming the largest automaker in Europe. The combined entity controlled a dominant share of the domestic market. It had factories on 4 continents. The pepper mill company from Hérimoncourt now employed more than 200,000 people. The decades that followed were harder. The 1980s brought overcapacity and labour disputes. The 1990s brought the rise of Japanese competition and a quality gap that took years to close. The 2000s brought the slow death of diesel, which Peugeot had bet on heavily. Each crisis was survived. None of them were survived easily. In 2021, the group merged with Fiat Chrysler Automobiles to form Stellantis. 14 brands, operations in 130 countries, the 4th largest automaker on Earth by volume. The lion badge that Armand Peugeot carried out of the family company in 1896 now sits alongside Jeep, Alfa Romeo, Maserati, Dodge and Fiat in a single corporate structure worth over 40 billion euros. The ironware company still exists, still based in that same eastern town, still making pepper mills, still using the lion stamp, a different one, settled by lawyers over a century ago. 2 lions, same family, same steel town. One of them makes the thing that seasons your food. The other one makes the thing that changed how the world moves. Both of them, in their own way, kept the same promise. Sharp, flexible, straight. Some materials do not change, only their purpose does. Share.